tape market works.
I'll be getting exclusive.
Adwar said he'd been offered Superman for $1,000. Said suppliers line up maybe 30 or 40 dealers like himself, deliver copies to all of them the same day, make $30,000 or $40,000, and disappear until next time.
Your people, they knew better, but they don't want to say that we had romances, same as anybody else. So, they never had a love song in a colored show. You couldn't stand up and sing, "Oh, darling, I love you."
Yeah. I had to always put on an Aunt Jemima dress, and so did Ethel Waters. Ethel Waters and I had to put on Aunt Jemima clothes.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Worley Safer.
I'm Dan Rather.
I'm Harry Reasoner. Those stories and more tonight on 60 Minutes.
Mr. Vanderbilt is driven.
They said it would happen, and it has. The day when you could go to the movies without leaving your living room. Something Hollywood has been looking forward to with dollar signs in its eyes. No longer would they have to lure you to a theater. You wouldn't have to go to the movies. The movies would come to you. Well, they are coming to you, if you're ready for them. Via videotape cassettes you can play on your home television set. But if what you want is Superman, the only way you can get him is illegally. From a modern-day pirate who steals first-run films, somebody's copyrighted product. As we learned in a story we ran in February, the market for pirated films is worldwide, and it's costing Hollywood millions. It's happening because it's so easy to slip a videotape recording of a film into a machine and virtually turn your living room into a theater. Grease, box office smash. But some pirate has managed to get it transferred from film to videotape. The boys from Brazil. Hollywood worries that illegal tapes of movies will cut into theater profits now and into television release later on. Heaven can wait. Warren Beatty.
I'm dreaming, huh?
What's at issue here is the illegal use of someone else's copyrighted material without permission or payment. For the pirate, the profits can run into the millions. We set out to learn just how the hot film and tape market works. Producer Paul Lowenwater and cameraman Bob Peterson picked one out of dozens of video showrooms they could have gone to in New York City. Adwar Video on Lower Fifth Avenue. We saw their ad in the New York Times. Lowenwater and Peterson, with our hidden camera, came to pick up copies of Grease and Star Wars, which they had ordered on a previous visit.
This is the Star Wars then, and this one is the Grease, parts 1 and 2. Okay, fine.
Now, how are we going to pay? Do you want them on separate bills on the same bill, cash, master charge? Separate, no. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any luck with Superman?
Not yet. My person hasn't come back yet. I'm thoroughly amazed. Usually they say it, and then they turn up like 3 or 4 weeks later with it in their hands. So all of a sudden I look up, and here they are. Mm-hmm. So I haven't given up hope. It's actually a standard operation.
Yeah, and that'd be the same $40 a cassette
Sure.
thing?
Sure.
Yeah. You call them training tapes, huh?
Yeah, because the other thing is illegal.
Yeah. I'd love to look at that illegal list again if I can.
I'll for you in just 1 minute. Let me make you change.
The illegal list grew longer each time we visited, as more current titles were added. Where do they come from? Well, from somewhere within the film industry itself. Some employee will sneak out a print overnight to be duplicated by a pirate. Even a theater projectionist, lending one reel of a film to a pirate while the rest is being shown in his theater. It's almost impossible to protect a film against pirates. Technicians and stars, and yes, film executives, and yes, employees at television networks and stations, all have access to films and can be part of a chain that leads to cassette sales at retail.
Back there. Yeah. Okay.
Producer Lowenwater wanted to check the quality of the tapes he had bought at Adwar Video, and he was led past the video cameras and recorders, which are the major part of the business, to the back room where the illegal copies are made. Star Wars, illegal on videotape. This copy, which we filmed later, was sold to us for $50. In its heyday, pirates were getting $500 and up.
Do you have Turning Point? My wife would like that.
I got it, I think, but it's not very good.
Not a good good copy?
No, there's too much of a buzz in it.
Yeah. So, and the other one was Heaven Can Wait.
I've got that, and I'll show it to you. It's not a great copy, but you can be the judge if you want.
Whether I want that or not.
Yeah.
These are masters then, not...
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
The masters are Adwire's permanent tapes, from which copies are made for sale.
Three-quarter now?
No, it's not super crisp. And see, there's some wrinkles.
A little rollover on it?
Yeah, that's like a wrinkle.
Yeah. Well, did you get it on cassette or do you get it on film?
No, we got it on cassette. If it were on film, it'd be better than that.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. 2001, Towering Inferno. This little library does not belong to pirates, but it used to. It's now in the hands of the FBI. This is Homer Hap Porter, who runs the FBI's anti-piracy squad in Los Angeles. Star Wars. Where would this have come from?
We obtained that during a raid that was a little over 2 weeks after Star Wars had been released to the public.
You certainly got the titles.
We have most of the major titles that have been produced within the last 10 to 15 years.
Piracy, as it is now and as it could be in the future, is a cancer in the belly of the film business.
Jack Valenti is head of the Motion Picture Association of America, the trade group of the major film studios. Mr. Valenti, have you got a guess as to how much piracy costs the film and tape industry?
It is difficult to measure precisely because one never knows how much business you're losing. Estimates range from 100 million up. But the point is that it is there, it is rampant, and unless we can get a hold of it alongside the police forces of the world, it can cause serious injury to the body and soul of the movie business.
Hollywood sees every new video recorder as a threat to its pocketbook. Thousands of potential customers flocked to this first national home video show in Los Angeles a few months back. Every machine can copy. Every copy means dollars lost in royalties not paid and tickets not sold. Several movie companies are trying to thwart the pirates by selling some films on tape legitimately. But right under Hollywood's eyes, here was Battlestar Galactica, recorded illegally off the air by somebody, being shown as a come-on by distributors of big-screen television sets. Galactica was filmed for ABC television by Universal Pictures, which told us it has not given anyone the right to record it on video cassette. But you or I could do it, using the new technology that is running away with the law. Here we are with more than 1 million new videotape recorders expected to be in American homes by the end of the year, and a copyright law that says that taping off the air is technically a violation. And Sony, who makes recorders, has now been taken to court by Universal Pictures and Disney Studios, who contend that the very existence of this machine is what makes copyright violation possible. They would like the machines limited to playback only, no recording. Sony contends that Congress knew about home recording when it wrote the new copyright law and never intended that home recording should be prosecuted. That case will take months, and the decision will ultimately affect us all. Meantime, the FBI tells us that it is not about to spend money prosecuting individuals recording for their own use at home. But when a dollar changes hands, they want to know about it. I have a list which came in the mail of films available. They told me in Los Angeles anything I wanted I could find within an hour or two.
That's right. Well, Mr. Reisner, I could give you a list this high of the busts that have been made by the FBI, prosecutions by the U.S. Attorney's Office, and for the first time in the last 6 months or so, and increasingly in the years ahead, they're going to jail for 1, 2, and 3 years, as well as heavy fines. It is no longer a playpen, where it used to be you would be caught for piracy, given a slap on the wrist, fined $250, and before you had a chance to get your money out of your wallet to pay the judge, you were operating again before the day was done. We're going to prevent that. That's going to be a thing of the past.
But Jack Valenti, his film security force, the FBI, all admit they catch less than one pirate out of 20. Piracy is not just a one-cassette, two-cassette business. Take Houston's Televideo Corporation. Houston's Televideo is not related to other televideo corporations around the country. Federal lawmen say Televideo Houston was perhaps the biggest pirate in the region, if not the country. But how it got into piracy tells a lot about a dog-eat-dog business. Leaf through an oil journal, and you would find this ad for Televideo. Licensed distributors, it says, and it began that way. The market was tanker crews at sea for weeks and months at a time, and drillers and roughnecks on platforms all over the world. Tens of thousands of separate locations. Their companies eager to provide stateside entertainment to keep up morale. Televideo went after that market with a legitimate contract to distribute Universal Pictures on video cassettes. It seemed unnatural. Televideo's owner is Ralph Smith. Back in 1975, he thought he would make a fortune leasing those movies. He wanted us to know that it didn't take long for him to learn that he could not compete with the pirates.
On my third sales call. The first two I sold.
How did you find out about it?
The company that called me asked me to come down and talk to him about providing services to an operation in South America. He asked me how current my material was. I said, well, it's very current. We have The Sting here with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. It's a 1974 release. We have The Execution of Private Slovic, which is a world television premiere. It's a 74 release. Very current material. He said, no, I mean very current. And in theory, they would throw a TV guide across my desk and say, this is the material we want. That's illegal. And the answer would be, well, thank you very much for your time. And you'd never hear from him again.
The odd twist is that long before the FBI raided Smith, Smith had gone to the FBI to try to crack down on piracy. These photographs are of a suspect Smith was dealing with on behalf of the FBI, trying to make a case against him. No arrests were made. And in the meantime, Smith says his customers were insisting on getting illegal material. What do?
You cooperate.
And that cooperate
Well,
implies...
when you're in Rome, Harry, you do as the Romans do.
Last September 20th, the FBI raided Televideo. Ralph, I've got some voluminous material here, which I guess is the inventory of what they took out of your shop in the raid. And one page has a listing of auto racing, Barbara Walters, Gene Kelly, Austin City Limits, Red Fox, Ben Vereen, all of which would seem to be television programs. Not things you had gotten on license from Universal.
That's correct.
So this material was there.
Yes.
That would have been part of the technically illegal or competitively necessary things?
It would have been.
The film business is now warning the oil business, some of Smith's former customers, in trade journal ads that piracy means heavy fines and a term in jail.
When you tell an oil company, or let's just say a multinational corporation, that you can't do it, the next question is why? And because they feel the same way that I feel about it, if I don't do it, somebody else will do it. If no one will do it for them, they will do it themselves. And they are doing it themselves. Now, if it's illegal to tape a program off the air, then why does the U.S. government permit these machines to be imported into this country? Why do networks like your own advertise these commercials on television? If a consumer can do it, a corporation can do it. What is the difference between 100 people out there in television land taping a program off the air or me doing it for 100 people? The end result is the same. You still have 100 copies, don't we? The fact that I charged a fee, does that make it illegal? The fact that I do it commercially, does that make it illegal? Or the fact that I make a profit at it?
Ralph Smith has been indicted by a federal grand jury in Houston and awaits trial on 219 counts of copyright infringement. Meantime, our own look into piracy at the retail level was continuing in New York. Producer Lowenwater and cameraman Peterson were asking Adwar Video's owner, Sam Adwar, whether he had been successful in the search for Superman.
You'd be surprised. I make it next week. Really?
Adwar said he'd been offered Superman for $1,000. Said suppliers line up maybe 30 or 40 dealers like himself, deliver copies to all of them the same day, make $30,000 or $40,000, and disappear until next time. A few weeks later, I went down to meet Sam Adwar with cameras in the open. Hi.
Hi. Right.
I'm Harry Reisner from 60 Minutes.
Hi.
We're doing a story on the selling of films and tapes that is unauthorized and probably
Maybe you should speak with Mr. Adwar. He owns the company.
Harry Reisner, 60 Minutes. And my producer, Paul Lowenwater, came in and bought 3 6 cassettes Greece, with no problem at all.
Right.
Boys from Brazil, Animal House. You sold them.
Right.
Where does the stuff come from in the first
I really
place?
can't say. I really can't say. It's many sources, I guess.
How many operations like yours in the New York City area? 100?
Well, there's got to be at least 100. And now we have every consumer dealer is doing that on the side too. I'm sure of it.
Why do you do it?
It's a hard. It may be. I really, it's something
Is it a
hard.
favor for people?
Well, it started as a favor. It started out people offering that, hey, we have going back many years ago, like Deep Throat was very common.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody wanted to see Deep Throat, and I got myself a copy. And before, a couple of friends asked me for it, I made him a copy.
You would think of yourself as a legitimate businessman,
Definitely.
running a nice business, making a little profit.
Right.
But you're technically flirting with a felony, aren't you?
Yeah. I guess so, right.
The film business is trying to tell the public that anyone who buys an illegal tape is dealing with a criminal. But the public appetite for tape material is creating a demand that people in the business find hard to resist. Here's proof. This copy of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like a lot of films, was on cassette on the illegal market even before the film opened at theaters last year. And finally, Superman. We eventually managed to get this copy from a pirate who may or may not be raided one day. But we'll leave that story to Clark Kent. You may wonder what happened to Sam Adwar and Adwar Video after our first broadcast of this report. Nothing as far as the law is concerned. No raids, no indictments. Adwar says he is out of the pirated tape business. As for the big lawsuit between Sony and Universal Pictures and Disney Productions, final arguments have been heard, and the judge promises a decision by fall, which may or may not resolve the conflict between technological progress and the property rights of showbiz.